This is the Atlanta Small Business Show with Jim Fitzpatrick.
Hello everyone, I'm Jim Fitzpatrick. Thanks so much for joining me on another edition of the Atlanta Small Business Show. Today I'm so excited to have with us Miss Ramona Long and Leslie Kuban, both who are now in the franchise business. I should say one is now in the franchise business. The other one has been in the franchise business. And Ramona Long is owner and operator of Money Pages of Kennesaw. I know that you know that brand right there. If you don't, you want to grab your mail today and see if it's in there, because this is chock full of all kinds of savings. And I'm like a fiend on these. When they come to my home, I'm all through it to see what kind of deals are in there, and because we always have something done to our home, and I know it's going to be in here, or maybe the latest restaurants are in there, and I can learn about them through a program like this, right? Yes, so you guys do an excellent job at Money Pages, and it just really looks nice for the small business owners that are watching us right now, that are looking to drive more business to their businesses. This is a great way to start, without a doubt, right? So welcome, ladies, to the show. I want to jump right in here. Ramona, tell us a little bit about your background and how you got started with becoming a publisher.
Well, originally I was an educator for many years, about 25 years in New England, and I took early retirement when we moved down here to Georgia, and I was actually working as a director of curriculum for a local chain of early childhood learning centers, and really was feeling like I wanted to explore something different. Sure. So I talked with my husband, and we looked at a multitude of options of things to do, and realized there was so much, and we really didn't know how to get started and what we really wanted to do. So we reached out to Leslie at FranNet, and she really helped us walk through the process. And I think probably the most key thing was the initial sit down with the what are your life goals and what are your business goals. Sure. And for us, we really wanted that happy work-life balance, right, but I wanted to do something that would be impactful in my local community. I've kind of lived my life on It Takes a Village, and small business is how people take care of their children, and that's a big trust. So I wanted something like that. So we looked at all of those factors, and she found us Money Pages after a long process, and it's been an absolutely wonderful adventure for us.
Sure. So Leslie, when Ramona walks in the door, is this a typical situation where they say, we know that we want to get into a business, and can you help us navigate this?
Very similar story, actually. Yeah. They had already been looking at some things. They looked at this, but they look at that, but I don't really know.
Enough to be confused, right?
Right. Just the more you look, the more there's out there to look at.
Yeah.
And so it really was very much that journey of sitting down and talking about what's important to you. What do you like to do?
Right.
What do you know that you don't like to do?
Right.
And we ended up looking at a bunch of different industries.
Yeah,
we looked at
yeah,
education and fitness and drug testing and
food, pest services, everything, the gamut.
Yeah. And sometimes when people don't know what they want, we have to cast a wide net to get started, and just process of elimination. I like this, here's why. I don't like this, here's why. And that's how we distill down the model of what's the right fit.
Sure. Did you find yourself kind of going towards something in education because of your background and said, well, maybe I'll start a tutoring company or a franchise or something like that?
Initially we did, and also interestingly enough, my dad was a landscaper, so we kind of looked at some of that piece too. So, because I like to be outdoors.
Sure.
And we never really ever even contemplated anything remotely like Money Pages, but it was one of those things that we truly didn't know what we didn't know, as cliche as that sounds, and she really did, and it has been the absolute perfect fit for us in terms of our professional goals, our personal goals, and I really couldn't ask for a company that has better support for us either. So it's been a wonderful journey.
That's great. You mentioned support, and I know Leslie, as an expert in the area of franchising, that's a big element, isn't it? I mean, if you don't have the right support from your franchisor, you could be in trouble.
Right.
Even as pretty and as nice as that storefront might look, or that logo or whatever, if you don't have the support, you're on an island, aren't you?
It's not a good situation,
right?
And that's what people are paying for with the franchise fees.
Good point. Yeah.
And the good news is, with most franchises, people can do due diligence in advance of signing on the dotted line for that business. They can talk to other franchise owners who are already in business about how is the training, how is the support after you've paid the fees, and what can you expect? What should you not expect? Those are all questions that people can ask in advance, and they need to take the time to do that. But Ramona, like most people, went into something entirely new. You're learning a brand new business.
Right.
So
how do you go from education to becoming a publisher of a magazine, right? I mean,
It was definitely a jump, but like I said, you know, I wanted to do something impactful in my community, and
Right.
small businesses are something that I strongly believe in.
Right.
And our philosophy at Money Pages has always been to provide premium quality, affordable advertising for local businesses.
Yeah.
So I really have enjoyed getting to meet so many great local business owners in the community, and being able to connect them with their target consumers and help grow their business.
I was going to say, you're bringing those small business owners a real service. Publications like this and direct mail, I know that we're going to talk about that in a minute, that you can help small businesses with. That's really where the rubber meets the road, isn't it? We can talk about Google all we want, and yes, that's a very viable way to go as well. However, when you pick up your mail, and everybody picks up their mail, you cannot get away from that. And you've got something in here that I happen to need in my home at that time, or a restaurant that I want to learn about that just opened, with coupons and what have you. This is a pretty strong way to go, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
We have found that it's been a really nice marriage. I know everybody does digital; it's a necessary component. We have that too. We offer those services, but it drives traffic to your website as a new business.
That's
and
right.
People don't know to look for you. You're way down on that list.
That's
so
right.
this is right in people's faces, and most homeowners make decisions about their homes in their home, and that's
right.
where that is right in your home, right in your mailbox.
That's right. And you don't have the waste factor that in a lot of cases will happen online. You know, you can spend a lot of money, but if somebody clicks onto your website, and let's say you happen to be living in Alpharetta and that company is, you know, down in Noonan, it's not really going to help you much, because you want to deal locally. They don't necessarily want to trek an hour and a half north, you know, to clean your windows or to cut your lawn or what have you, to help you with countertops or so on. So this really does keep it super local, doesn't it?
It does. And for most of our businesses who are looking for homeowners, we deliver to homeowners exclusively, so we're not wasting their marketing dollars.
That's great.
A lovely thing for me as a local owner to be able to do that for other local owners.
Sure. Talk to me a little bit about the support that we just mentioned that that the company, that Money Pages, is able to offer you, so that you can get into a field that you knew nothing about, and spend, I would imagine, more of your time on building those relationships with small business owners, rather than where do I get the best printing? How do I get the best postcard? Who does the direct mail? They do all of that, right?
They do. We actually have an incredibly talented team of graphic designers down in Jacksonville, where our headquarters are, and they handle all of that design work for us. So they create all of those things. So if you don't have pre-ready art, we provide that for you. And our corporate people handle all the traffic management, so they manage the zip code areas, the mail routes, all of that stuff. They coordinate with the postal services for us for our on-demand products, as well as our magazine.
Right.
And they also handle all of the printing piece. I don't really have to worry about any of that.
That's great.
And it's all an interactive computerized system, so they handle billing for me, all of that, and that's a wonderful thing. And I don't really have to worry about anything except how do I help my local business owners fabricate good offers to be able to drive business and connect with their target market.
Talk to us a little bit about FranNet for the people that are watching right now at home or in their office. To say FranNet, what role do you play in all of this? If you're not the franchisor and you're not the franchisee, what is it that you're bringing to the table?
It's a little bit of a corny analogy, but I think it's a good one. We're like Match.com for people who want to buy a business, but
that's great.
They need help figuring out, well, what would be the right match for me? Is it food? Is it home services? Is it senior care? There's a lot of great businesses out there, but it is about figuring out what's right for the person. And there's a lot of dimensions that go into that: the cost of getting into the business, the income potential, the growth potential in their area of interest. And so we look at all of that. We're asking questions around that and building a profile. We have an assessment tool that we use that helps describe someone and their leadership style and their risk tolerance for getting into business. And all of that combined helps us to narrow it down. It's like a funnel, narrowing it down from many to a manageable few that we can really dig into with the goal of getting to the right one, the right match.
Last time you were on the show, you mentioned that the vast majority of the people that come in, you say, I want to buy a franchise in this area, I want to get into this field, actually after learning about that, end up going in a different direction. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, many people have an interest of some kind. They may have been thinking about getting into their own business, and I always wanted to own a little bed and breakfast or something
Sounds so
like
romantic,
that.
right?
Right.
Right.
But a lot of people have a fantasy
Right.
about what it's like
Right.
to own a certain kind of business.
Sure.
But we have to look at the reality of
That's right.
what kind of hours would you be working in that business? What kind of staff would you be working with? Who are the customers? Does all that really jive with you?
Yeah.
And most of the time it doesn't.
That's right.
But we can find other businesses that weren't really on the fantasy horizon, but
right.
ultimately are a really good match.
Yeah. And purchasing a franchise is a big element when it comes to financing, right? If you're looking to finance, and I don't know if you did or not, but if you're looking to finance your new franchise, that's the first question that a banker or an investor is going to ask. Are you doing something on your own, or are you going to build your own subs, or are you going to buy a Subway, right? Or some kind of a franchise system out there, right?
There are many financing options. SBA loans, Small Business Administration, government-backed loans are very common vehicles for people to obtain some debt financing. And many franchises, if they've been around a bit, are on a registry that the SBA is aware of.
Oh, really?
The borrower still has to be creditworthy.
Yeah, sure.
The bank still has to look at them as a good borrower.
Sure.
But it can help that process a bit. There are ways people can tap into a retirement plan or a 401k that doesn't trigger an early withdrawal penalty or taxes.
Sure.
That can be an easy debt-free way for people to get into business or come up with the down payment for the loan for their business.
Is this, Ramona, a home-based business, or is this something you can do from your home? Or?
It is. It is actually a home-based business.
That's a beautiful thing.
It is.
Yeah.
It was one of the things that when Leslie, went through that process that she just described to you with us, we didn't want something that had exorbitant amounts of startup costs and overhead and things like that. So we really loved that aspect of Money Pages because it is something that I can do from home, which allows me to save money, which saves my business partners money because I don't have to pass on those costs to them. So that's kind of a nice thing. Yeah. And it was also the unexpected opportunity, like she mentioned, that you had all these grandiose ideas of, oh, maybe we'd like to own a restaurant or do this. And then as we talked about those details, went, oh no, and this has just been such a great fit for us. It's home based and it has a variety of revenue stream options, which we really liked, and that was something else that she talked about in the process.
Sure.
And
you brought some samples of the direct mail and printing that you guys will do as well, right? That is just beautiful. I mean, this is some of the nicest printing that I've seen on different brochures, and where I live, I get a ton of these things at our home. So it's important that it is done nicely so it stands out, right? And so you guys will do that too, not just the ad in the magazine and poof, you're done. You can also come back and build a marketing strategy for the small business owner, right?
Yes,
and
yes we can.
Pretty low cost, right? I mean, relatively speaking, we're not talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars here, or even tens of thousands of dollars, right?
No, we're not talking that huge amount of money. Even when you pair it with our digital services, it's still really something that has been very affordable for our local business partners.
Oh, that's great.
And having a background in special education, all about the customization, one of the things that I love about Money Pages is that it allows us to really customize all of the marketing to the specific needs of the business, because every business is as unique as every child. And I really like that aspect of what we are able to do as a company.
Sure. What are some of the lessons learned in this process that you can share with our audience to say, hey, before you run out and do this, here's what we learned?
Be mindful that you don't know all that you think you know.
Right.
And that there's a lot of nuances in becoming a new business owner that are unexpected. Some of them are common sense, but some of them are not. And you really do need an expert to guide you through that process so that you can be successful. We've been very, very blessed in that we've been a profitable business since day one.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Well, I credit that to the Money Pages team and support and the product and the support, because we really found that perfect fit.
That's huge. I know people are right now TiVoing this and playing it back and going, did she just say profitable from day one? Because everybody is told you better have 6 months or a year's worth of income in the bank because this thing's not going to work. So to hear that your profit from day one is pretty exciting.
She did tell us to be prepared for that, because that is typical of a new business.
That's right.
But we are blessed that that's not our experience. But you do need to have somebody who's going to be that reality check for you and really work you through what are your life goals.
Right.
Because if you love the job but it's not matching up with your life goals, you're not going to love the job for very long.
Sure.
And
Sure.
it's really important to kind
Sure.
of consider all of those things and get some expert advice.
Sure. Now, in a franchise system, Leslie, you buy an area, right? And that's the case here as well, where you have kind of protected area that says you can go out and sell to these small businesses in this area. Would you consider purchasing other areas? Is that the next evolution of this?
Well, we actually already have.
Oh,
so
okay.
We actually already have.
That's great.
We looked at this as an opportunity where we can grow it within one territory with that multiple revenue streams with the different products that we offer. So we liked that.
Right.
But we also purchased the Marietta territory, so we'll be opening that very soon.
Wow.
And maybe beyond. It's been just such a great experience that we're really looking for wonderful things.
Now, after you sign the paperwork and say, okay, I'm going to become a franchisee of Money Pages and I'm ready to go, do you never hear from Leslie again?
Oh no, not at all.
Talk to me about that, because that's important, right? Now that you've built this relationship with this person, right?
It actually, we actually had quite a lot of communication after the fact. She followed up with us after we went down and visited the headquarters in Jacksonville and talked about all the different training that Money Pages provided to us as new owners and what that looked like, because she wanted to make sure that she knew about that as well.
Yeah.
And then she also has been a great support for me as a female business owner to talk to me about what are some of the key things that I should be doing in terms of networking and how to go about that. And we stay in touch actually probably on a monthly basis. It's been fantastic.
That's great.
And here we are.
Yeah. And here we are.
Here you are on TV, right? Talking about it.
Yeah.
But Ramona Long, owner and operator of Money Pages in Kennesaw, right? And now Marietta.
And Marietta.
Congratulations on that. And
Thank
Leslie
you.
Kuban, I know that you know this young lady because she's always on the Atlanta Small Business Show. You bring us such great guests and provide great tips and content, and certainly she's the owner of FranNet here in Atlanta. So for anybody that's watching right now that likes what they hear and they want to know more about franchising, certainly get a hold of Leslie. If you want to drive more business to your small business, I suggest you start with Money Pages, because this is the real deal right here. So, ladies, thank you so much for joining us on Atlanta Small Business Show. This is great.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching Atlanta Small Business Show. ASBN is a part of the JBF Business Media family.